All right.
So
Hopefully
hello,
you're all right with us recording everybody, because if you're not, you can keep yourself off camera, whatever you want.
hello everyone. My name is Madeline McHugh. I am the marketing coordinator in George Mason Center for the Advancement of Wellbeing. I'd like to welcome and thank you all for joining today's Coaching in Action workshop. This series provides a brief experiential exploration of leadership coaching. Together, we will learn about the foundations of coach education that are centered on well-being. For a few housekeeping notes, like Ellen said, we are recording today's session. If you prefer that your image or voice not be included, please adjust your Zoom settings accordingly. Our team will monitor the chat, so please feel free to ask any questions or offer comments there. Today's workshop, entitled Listening Beyond Words, is facilitated by Dr. Pam Patterson and Ellen Fulton. Pam and Ellen are the directors of our coaching academy. So thank you so much for hosting today's session, Pam and Ellen. I will now turn it over to you.
Hey everyone, so good to be with you today. In some ways it feels like a long time, and in some ways it feels like it was just yesterday, but terrific to see so many familiar faces. When Ellen and I were talking about what we wanted to do for this series, we were like, let's go back to the basics and do something just kind of really that we can all sink our teeth into and bring some good awareness to today. So we are so happy to have you.
We definitely are. Welcome, everybody. And for me, kind of a thrilling experience to have people who have never been a part of Mason here, which thank you for coming, and hopefully you love our community. We have, I think, some of the best community anywhere. And then from all levels of our coaching programs within our coaching academy. So we do have a level one, level two, and a level three. So thank you for representing. As we were talking to today's title, I actually have to go back up to the is Coaching in Action, Listening Beyond Words. So we are going to dive into listening a bit. And Pam, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, we thought we would just kind of refamiliarize you or introduce you to if you are not familiar with the levels of listening. Um, and really, when we think about listening, it's really at the heart of coaching, but not all listening is the same. And so, one helpful way to think about what that is that we can listen from different places depending on different circumstances, the space that we're in. And so, as I just kind of go through these different levels of listening, I want you to just pay attention to where you notice this about yourself. And then we're going to do some fun and interactive activities around this topic. So, again, level one is what we call sort of this internal listening. It's where the awareness is primarily on yourself. And we're thinking about like, what does this mean to me? How am I experiencing this? What should I say next? Right. So we kind of notice this about ourselves, but also maybe if you're a coach on here, how does this show up for you when you are in coach role? And we all do this, right? The challenge in coaching is noticing when our own thoughts, our judgments, our desire to solve the problem begin taking up more space than the person in front of us, right? That's kind of a good awareness. When we're talking about level two and kind of that focused listening, the attention is really directed more on the other person, right? We hear the shift, we shift the spotlight completely to the other person. Instead of thinking, what would I do? I'm curious, what is really happening for you, right? So that's when we're really focused on the other person, listening for words, but also listening for tone, emotion, expression, what you may or may not be saying, and you're fully present with the other person. And then we talk about level three listening, that global listening, where we really kind of widen the lens, right? We're at most home with our intuition, we're sensing the environment, we're sensing really all information that's available to us when we're in conversation. And we often talk about when we're coaching at our highest level, that's where we are. We're spending time in level three, but we often tend to kind of go back in between level two and level three. So one thing I might just ask you to pause on for a moment is what helps you ground yourself so that you can listen in level three. And I
Go
just
ahead
ask
and
you to really
populate
kind of
that
get in
chat.
touch with that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah, and I'd love to see it in the chat if you're willing. Put in the chat what helps you. Sorry, Pam, to talk over you. I didn't
yeah,
mean.
no problem. What helps you listen at level three?
I love stay curious. Turning off notifications.
I'm gonna
Yes.
put the cell phone down. Try to put
Breathing.
myself in their shoes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Taking my ADHD medicine. That's so true, though, and for all of us,
yeah.
those distractions. Observing face, yeah. Silence, grounding, curiosity, presence.
Do a
Beautiful.
mindfulness exercise. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes just getting quiet with yourself, right?
Sometimes being open to feeling the energy. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So these are incredibly uh, powerful insights that you all are bringing. I mean, one of the things that I like to do is to think about the what it looks like if you're doing these things really, really well, right? So no matter what level of coaching you're at, or if you've even started your coaching journey yet, um, it's what does it look like, or what is happening if you're doing this well? So what I'm doing is going to share some of what we call the behavioral markers of the master certified coach. So this is going to sound really familiar to some of you who have been in the level 3 program. Um, and think about this in terms of listening. So one of our competencies is listening actively, right?
Mm.
And what it looks like if you are listening actively well, according to the ICF, is that the coach recognizes the nuances in language, emotions, energies, or behaviors in relation to the client and the client's agenda. So that ability to recognize nuances, like the slight tweaks in the language, the noticing when a person is speaking, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and well, when somebody does this, so they shift tense, they shift to a whole nother tense from first person to third person, right? You're starting to listen to what's starting to shift. Those nuances is listening beyond the words, right? Looking for the energy. What is the energy that's coming across? Right? You've probably all heard somebody say, or Daphne in module 2, if you went through the level 2 program, you know, I want a cookie. I want a cookie. I want a
Mhm.
cookie, right? Same words, but different energy can mean completely different things, right? So just remembering that as you're deeply listening, sometimes the words are not even the important part in this,
Mm.
right? It's beyond the words. Um, Another behavioral statement at the MCC level is that the coach responds response demonstrates understanding of the client's thinking, feeling, or insight in that moment. So you're really listening in the way that then that person's kind of feeling understood, right? That you're sensing, you're using your own spidey senses, right, to listen beyond what's even being said. Sometimes people will go, I don't know what you just did. It's magic. It's not magic. It's listening to the things that are underlying what's being said, those energy shifts, right? Another one is that the coach explores what the client communicates in relation to multiple dimensions of the client, multiple dimensions. So some of you all mentioned that in our level 2 program, we talk about the bells model. Some places call it the bell model, and we added the S. So moves around the body, right? Around language, around the energy, around the words, um, around the emotions, right? Um, if you think about getting a coaching agreement, for those of you who have been in a program, one of the main things to get an agreement is trying to figure out, trying to feel into what's truly important for a person, right? That often isn't somebody saying, and this is important because, right? You're sensing into where those values are. What's truly there beyond what somebody's saying. Right? So just a reminder to make some of those connections. When you're really listening with somebody, you're also in deep presence, right? And presence is being with and responding agilely to what you're hearing, what you're sensing, right? So you're keeping that flow going, building right off. You're partnering with what that client needs. You're constantly staying curious, right? Constantly staying curious. And you're creating that space. You're pausing for reflection. You're allowing that. So does that make sense in terms with the levels of listening? How might that, knowing these things, these behavioral um, uh, kind of statements, how does that tie in with you when you're really deeply listening? Just give that a thought for just a sec. Yeah. Pam, as I set up a breakout room, why don't you get a few people's thoughts on what they might be hearing or understanding beyond even what you and I have just said.
Yeah, who'd like to chime in here? You're welcome to either put something in the chat or also just take yourself off mute. What's showing up for you around this morning, or actually this afternoon? I guess we've entered into since it's officially afternoon. Jane, please.
I'll jump in. Nice to see everyone. One thing that I sort of notice, I think that energy shift and a tone of voice, I think sometimes the tone can come through in a way that gives you a clue of what's going on in their minds and maybe what's to come. But that tone and that, inflection sometimes in someone's voice. And if they get energized and something's really exciting, I mean, I think you can just sense that. That's what I feel anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. How about another?
I I recognize a temperature shift inside my body.
Mm,
It's almost like I enter a different place.
I
yeah,
love that.
nice.
One more, and then I'm going to explain, we'll explain what we're going to do next.
Level 3 allows you to pick up word patterns without listening to the content. Thanks, Katie.
Mm. Wow. Without listening to the content.
Mm-hmm. What's coming through for me are thoughts about how to be with their emotions without mirroring them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nice.
So for some of you who have been in the level 3 program, you have done this exercise before. And we're going to do this, bring this to the group. We're going to break out into groups, and if my math has me right, it's going to be somewhere in the 5-ish realm of people into your group, but people keep coming in and out. And you're going to take turns. There's going to be one speaker, and the rest of you will be listening. And that speaker is going to just start spouting out things that they love to do, top of mind. You don't have to think about this beforehand. You can repeat stuff, but I love to swim. I love to play pickleball. I love it when my dog sits on my foot. I love hugging my daughter. Just keep going till you've done 20-ish things, right?
Okay.
While the others are just listening. Everybody else is just listening. As a listener, I just want you to write down 3 to 4 qualities or the essence that you're sensing from that person. So if you were listening to me, you might say, you might have started to sense adventure, connection, love, whatever it is that you would sense. So you're tapping into yourself, right? And you're just writing 3 to 4 things that are coming to you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just jot those down. Then you're going to go around the circle in any way that works in your breakout room, right? And you're just going to share those things that came for you, right? I'm going to throw in another coaching move for you. We don't want to say, Ellen, you're adventurous, you're loving, you're might be very true. But you're in when you're doing that, you're saying it as if it's true. When actually what you're sensing, it might be a reflection of what you're hearing, but it also might be a reflection of you. So I want you to hold that as a possibility. So you're always staying in curiosity. So when you share and say, what I'm sensing is a love for adventure, a love for connection. Um, does that make sense? So own your experience as you share those 3 to 4. You don't need to comment on it, and then we're going to go around and Pam's going to share her 3 to 4 and until everybody in the group has shared their 3 to 4, and then you're going to swap, and the next person's going to speak for 15, 20 things, saying I love to travel, I love X, Y, and Z, and do the same thing so that you start just practicing listening beyond necessarily what's being said. Now you may end up using some of those, like, wow, those words too, because that is one of the senses. but challenge yourself to go beneath. What are the values or the core essence that you may be intuiting here? Or they might have said it explicitly. That's fine too, right? Does that make sense? All right, and you are going to have 20 minutes for this. Any questions, any thoughts? All right. If you end up having a question, I think that you can call question and Pam or I will jump in to join you. And since there's so many people, the amount of people you have in your room is the amount of people that you have in the room. And yeah, just go with the flow and enjoy. And ready? All right, dive, dive, dive. Okay. Okay. So on this, does it send everybody, Madeline?
I think something usually pops up on your screen.
Oh,
Then,
okay. There they go.
yep.
There they go. I was like, my
They're still
goodness.
here.
I was like, I'm not doing this right. Okay, so I
And then
think
Sarah just joined, so would
I'll
you
just put her in her room
Yeah.
real quick and I'll put her in room 1. All right.
Terrific, terrific listening. Just kind of wanted to get a sense here, kind of what happened in your listening and what it was like to sort of sense what was important to someone else as you went through this exercise.
Go ahead and raise your hand. Let's get
Yeah,
a
raise
couple
your
of
hand.
voices in
Let's
here.
have some conversation. Who's brave? You don't even have to be brave, you just have to be willing.
Well, I'll kick in. So I love the exercise. I love listening for the identity statement and watching the emergence of smiles when people spoke about what was most important to them, their facial expression would shift, or there would be greater laughter.
Mm,
The body would lean in more when something was intimate and important. I love watching the presence of the body language,
hmm
the shift in voice tone. When something was extremely important, the voice would go an octave higher.
Ah,
So it's very intriguing.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Katie.
What we heard in many of our recaps was polarities. And when we could really listen to not just the content, but kind of the nature of the the what they were experiencing, it really highlighted, um, going from focus to flexibility, going from connectiveness to kind of internal introspection,
Mm,
going from uh, you know active to kind of rejuvenating. So
Ah.
that
So,
it was kind of
Katie, what I'm loving here that I just want to point out, right? So this group was noticing that there were values that a polarity are things that are both right, like flexibility and structure, right? So oftentimes in a coaching conversation, when somebody brings an issue, the issue oftentimes, um, if it could be solved as easy as let's talk about my problem, come to the solution, they would have already done it. So oftentimes there are things that are important underlying, just like that, that if you do all towards one, you're going to miss out towards the other, right? So that listening, congratulations to this group to notice that people can desire rest and they can desire to be active.
Hmm.
Mhm. How cool is that? And that's definitely beyond the words. Great.
Yeah. Thank you. Rachel, hi.
Hi. Well, I certainly noticed moments where I was in kind of like that level one listening and getting excited about things I felt I was like connecting with, having in common with the person,
Mhm.
and really identifying those moments and kind of resetting with a deep breath for more that global listening and noticing just like the way I was taking that information in from my own lens versus the others or that global lens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm going to comment here because I just can't, those of you who know me, I just can't keep my mouth shut. Well, like for me, my tail is wagging, right? The noticing your own path here, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I noticed when as I was listening for connecting in and getting excited because I was noticing, how I'm how that story and now I'm making my interpretation, how that story may be similar to something that I like. And then I noticed Rachel talking about, and then I kind of grounded myself to listen beyond. So there was an internal process that also helped her shift to listen in this other way as well. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. Stephen.
Yeah, I was struck by this sort of underlying commonality in our humanity for truth. And when we hear truth, we respond to it in really deep ways.
Mhm.
When coachees hear, clients hear truth, they respond in fresh ways, potentially breaking kind of the blockage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Hi, Sue.
Hi, I think this is along the same lines, but I put it into the chat when I was having trouble raising finding the raise hand. But I noticed that when one of us shared an insight that really resonated with the speaker responded and in an energetic way and added more about how they saw that insight and why that resonated with them. So it was this very generative moment in the conversation. It brought more out of the speaker than had been there before. So it was really fun to watch that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Love
the
that.
flip side of that, I would love to hear from somebody who, the flip side of what Sue just said, when they heard these things being reflected back, what was that experience for you? Who'd be willing to share it? Yeah, Penny.
It's interesting that you said that, Ellen, because that is really what I pulled away from this exercise. I mean, really so much, and you guys are such masters at coming up with these activities that are both fun and I didn't think that I was going to learn something about myself from the perspectives of what other people were hearing. But there was a comment that was shared that really made me think about myself differently. So I think it just goes to the power, for all of us as coaches, not to forget that, talking about things you love is so easy, and you don't even think about how they're interconnected or what it says about us as people, the things that we love. And I really enjoyed being on the side of listening to other people's perspectives about things I had never thought about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Penny.
Jane.
Well, I got some insight from my group, and when they reference to my 20 comments as a generous relator. And I thought that was really, and joy and assurance, which I thought was really helpful. And Sarah picked up on discovery of self during this period of time that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what it has been since I finished the George Mason program. It has been a discovery of self. So thank you, Sarah, for saying that. And Brett's referenced dancing, which I liked that too. So thank you all.
That's awesome. So just to fill in the chat, how does it feel if indeed you felt, heard, or seen, or listened to? What, just put some emotions in the chat as we kind of bring this. Like I mattered. Warm, loved, energizing, safe, cozy, valued, joyful, seen, safe. Oh, keep it coming.
Yeah.
Mm. So
Yeah.
this is only a quick snippet of a connection over an hour, right? And what Pam and I want to leave you with is something that many of you have heard me say before. The greatest gift you can give anybody is to be fully present with them, right? You're bringing yourselves, you're listening to their words, you're listening beyond their words. You're just connecting in with their energy, and that is such a great gift, right? Whether you are a coach already, whether you're thinking about becoming a coach, this is the greatest gift of all. And it's really rewarding as the listener too, the person who is being present with somebody else. So, is there any other last tidbits you want to leave them with, Pam, before we turn it back over to Madeline?
No, just really, really great to be in this room for 1 hour and appreciate the commitment you made just to kind of be here with us today. So feels good, feels like a really, really nice, warm group. So thanks for spending time with Ellen and I today and one another.
Madeline, how do you want to, what do you want to share with folks?
So, first of all, I hope everyone joins me in thanking Pam and Ellen for such an engaging session today. What a great way to spend the afternoon. Before we dismiss for the day, I'd like to share a few announcements. First, we thank you for attending today's session, and we want to hear your feedback. So, if you could please take this quick 90-minute, very short program
90-minute
or 90-second.
We really want your feedback.
Really, yeah. Really quick.
Wow.
Longer than the session. No, I'll send it in the chat. It'll take 90 seconds to take. And if you are interested in becoming an ICF certified leadership coach, we invite you to learn more about our Ignite program, formerly called Leadership Coaching for Organizational Well-Being. We are currently accepting applications, although the deadline is quickly approaching on August 14th. I will add the link here in the chat for you. And you can register for the program, or if you want to email coaching@gmu.edu. If you want to schedule a quick one-on-one info session this week, please let us know. We're more than happy to give you some more information. And yeah, thank you so much for joining.
And one more program too, because I see so many insanely great faces that I've seen, whether it's from Mason or other places. So you're already coaches. We also have a level 3 program that is accepting applications. If you want to dive more into this type of thing, coming learning about yourself and how you deepen that connection, also look into that program, reach out with any questions because we are taking applications for both programs.
And I will also put the business of coaching link in the chat as well. So we are also accepting applications for that program as
We
well.
got all sorts of ways. Get involved.
Thanks to all.
Thank you so much.
Take good care.